like
That's key.
help us understand what keeps us from being able to see, to trust, to be able, you can't trust because you see. You only see more when you trust more, I feel like.
That's exactly right. And to go along with that and to parallel with what you just said, I've heard a lot of leaders and preachers say this phrase, well, we know why you were burnt out, but it's because you were doing too much. And that's true to an extent. You're burnt out when you're doing a lot of things that God never ordained you to do.
Come on.
It's a great idea, but doesn't mean it's a God idea, right? So even if it's many things, and like you said at the beginning, you're doing all these many things, but the only reason why I'm able to have progress at each pocket and each area is because it's what he told me to do. And someone says, what do we call you? We call you a rapper. Do we call you preacher? Do we call you Brother Terry? Do we call you? And at the end of the day, I just said, just settle it at man of God. It's so many titles. DJ, I'm DJing at night, preaching in the morning. Just did that a couple days ago. Artist. Then I go rap on stage at a concert.
No, like a paint artist, a drawing artist. He's launched all these careers in your life.
Exactly. And
open doors.
The amazing thing about that is I can't remember if I shared this part with you, but how it started, I woke up in the morning and the Lord spoke to me. He said, draw. And that was kind of funny to me and a little different because, you know, we're preaching, we're travel ministry, we're doing meetings, thank God for the door that he's opening through that. And we're seeing many bodies get healed and souls be saved. And in the middle, and it was like in the midst of this, he's saying, sketch, draw. This is the voice of God. I'm like, okay.
That sounds like a hobby. I don't have time for hobbies.
Yeah, this is interesting. But the reason why it was funny to me was because I knew that it was him. That's the difference. And it was funny because, Lord, I know your voice, but you are the one telling me to sketch and draw in the midst of all this. But then we have to remind ourselves, just because we have different things going on, anytime he speaks to us, he's already made the way for it to be executed and effective. And so when I obeyed, all of a sudden doors from left and right just flung open. I mean, I'm now illustrating children's books for Christian authors, T-shirts, stickers, stuff being sold weekly. I mean, just all these things that he's using, even through art. And like you said, it goes with all of it, the art, the DJ, and the preaching and the teaching and the meetings and Instagram lives, Facebook lives. We're getting so many testimonies, even from our Facebooks and Instagram lives as well, when the Lord tells us to do it. And I've had that question from one DJ who put me on an interview, and he said, my only main question for you is, how are you doing all this stuff? Because we see you DJing on one post, the next post, your eyes are closed, you're laying hands on the sick, and then you had a report that something happened to their body and they got healed. And then I had one guy contact me recently. He found me on Instagram. He said, you were the guy that came to my church in New Jersey. He said, I was the one that you spoke over. And he sent me the picture and said, and I was like hugging him in the picture, and he was crying on my shoulder. He said, you gave me a word and said, at your appointment, it was a word of knowledge, and at your appointment next Friday, these are going to be the exact words from the doctor, and whatever. And it started coming back to me. And what happened was, I was in New Jersey, and as I was preaching in this meeting, he came down for prayer. And when he came down for prayer, the Lord spoke to me and said, don't ask him what the specific need is. I'm going to tell you what to pray, and then I'll show you where to lay your hands on his body. And then so I had did that. And then right when I did that, he just broke. That's when he basically fell on me, and he just wept on my shoulder, and I just held him. But I was glad to get that testimony because I didn't see that picture, and this is very recent, and he said it was hepatitis. What is it? CB, one of the initials, hepatitis and something else, but he was cured from it all. And so, but it's like throughout the years, you see so many testimonies keep coming back to the surface from next fruit of next steps. It's like if God tells us to pray in a meeting, or he tells me where to go. Either it doesn't matter on the area of, okay, what do we do now? Is what's most important to you is what is God saying right now. All we have to do is do that. And so the results come from that obedience.
Sorry. That was really what we do now. Mm-hmm. That's the question people ask.
Yes. What does the Lord want me to do right now?
But they don't stop. I just want you to stop and maybe give them some step or help to see how you open that, go from what do we do now, and go from that question to
doing it,
to hearing the words now, hearing what he's saying now. Like, we should be after what he's saying more than after our to-do list.
Oh, yes.
And I feel like if we can make that shift, I'm trying to, this show and Hannah and Terry and I, we just have this relationship where we just kind of bat revelation back and forth to untangle some stuff and untangle some of our behaviors that are stopping us. And so I feel like it caught me. I'm sorry for interrupting you, but it caught my attention that we need to purposely help us untangle the, what do I do?
I'll tell you exactly,
question, train of thought to, what are you saying, Lord? Because in what he's saying is going to be what to do.
That's it, and that's exactly right. And the exact way to do that is yes, it's the word, but it's what I learned from my spiritual father, Kellie Copeland. And this is the Kellie Copeland Reference Edition Bible, my favorite Bible. Guy. And I love Kellie Copeland. I love Gloria. I love all of y'all and the ministry. But what I learned from him is the answer to that, and that's the setting aside time to target things in prayer and get very sensitive and slow down. Otherwise, you're still operating and functioning and doing, and all that is basically just seeds being planted to receive a harvest of more frustration because you're doing and wanting instead of slowing down, stopping, and listening. And when we slow down, then all of a sudden, his spirit starts to bear witness with things within our spirit. And then after that happens, what happens after his spirit bears witness with our spirit is direction. Now we can start seeing where he's leading us. What is he showing us? Even if you're an evangelist and you feel like God is calling you to preach, God gave me a word that corrected me. It was even shortly after I moved to Texas, and that word was, you were waiting on invitations when I was telling you to go. Ooh. That's a word that he spoke to me. He said, you've been waiting on invitations when I told you to go. And there were times where I knew in my spirit, I'll be in my prayer closet. My prayer closet is my garage. And so I was in my prayer closet, and I'm still on that point about how we get from there to the knowing what to do and then executing it and seeing it be fruitful and impactful. I'm in my prayer closet, and there will be times where I'm praying in the Holy Ghost, and I pray until I get a release and direction, and it'll go off in my spirit, Nebraska. It'll go off in my spirit, this certain part of Cali. And over and over and over, this happened for lots and lots and lots of times. But now this is the importance of knowing next steps. And while we have to get in this word, because a lack of knowledge will cause you to not be at the places that you're called to be when you're supposed to be there. Like, God has a schedule, and it's very important for us to be knowing exactly what to do, when to do it, and how to do it. And that comes through pressing in prayer. So it's like that transition and the move from Tennessee to Texas is where where me and my family are living now in Texas. The biggest part about that move was his voice. We can't just do it because, it sounds good, or, you're going to be closer to KCM or anything like that. It's no, what is God saying? Why is he telling you to move? Where does he want you to go? What is his plan? Because you can get next to people that may seem like they can take you up, but if that's your motive, you can still get there, get close to them, and nothing still goes up because that's not God's will for your life. So it's not about people, and sometimes in the body, people flow through excitement, which causes us to make decisions based on flesh and blood, and it's not choices and direction that was only revealed by the Spirit of God.
Well, sometimes we're doing the right step with the wrong motive. Mm-hmm. Like, if somebody's feel called it, if you had come here thinking I'm going to be a success because God's bringing you here but you think you're looking at man. And I'm like, strategically, that makes sense, God, that you'd send me here and send me there. And and then you run off without him.
Exactly.
How many times do we run off to do that those big plate full of stuff?
Exactly.
And we can't do it because he knows what to focus on today. He knows, you know what hit me the other day?
What?
I was thinking, if we have a mindset of scarcity, and somebody says, you're believing God for something, and you have a mindset of scarcity, and the Lord says, buy this house, because I was like looking at a house. So he says, buy this house, and tomorrow that house is going to sell for double. But because you had scarcity today in your thinking and didn't step out and be bold, and it's just an example, but it's what I was dealing with. Then tomorrow, when you need that house, it is scarcity. It's not there because yesterday you didn't do it. You didn't step out. And that could be for anything.